Welcome to the 2-Month Review, the weekly podcast brought to you by Open Letter and 3%, in which we take one giant book, break it down section by section, talk about it, analyze it, have fun, have a good conversation. I'm Chad Post from Open Letter Books, and I'm joined this week by Caitlin Baker from Island Books. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm fine. It is like one of the rare hot days in Seattle.
Oh.
So, yeah, and nothing here is air conditioned, including espespecially my apartment, but I'm going to try to, so.
It's perfect here. Today's like nice weather here, like nice, almost fall weather.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
so you guys have the sticky grossness that we used to have. So, we're usually on here with Brian Wood, who will be joining in shortly. He's picking up his wife from the hospital, not because she works there, not because she's injured.
Right.
So just to clarify, like in case you don't know, that's good because I wanted to talk about something that I'm asking everyone to do. I'm asking on Facebook. I'll ask on the blog. I'll ask on every podcast. I'll ask on Twitter and Instagram and everywhere else. But first off, we all have Brian's book, Joytime Killbox, which is shipping now. You have a copy too. So
I do. Here it is.
Shipping out to everyone. So you can order Brian's book. Order it from BOA Editions, from your local independent bookstore. Wherever you want to get it, you can get it. Now, this week, there's a local paper called the City Paper, which is the free kind of alternative weekly, but like let's ignore alternative for this. It's just a weekly paper that covers a lot of shitty jam bands and has like pretty milquetoast takes on politics and whatnot. But anyways, every year they have the Best of Rochester poll. And years ago, when we brought out Rochester Knockings, we were one of the finalists for the best local book. Was Rochester Knockings by Hubert Haddad, translated from the French, written by an Algerian. And we almost won this competition by just getting everyone that listened, everyone who's a fan of Open Letter, to like write in us as a nominee and then vote for us. So I went through this before we started, and there are a few nominees I think are really important. Now, I wrote out like a whole list because you have to pick 30 things. You have to write in 30 categories out of like 110. But I'm going to tell you right now that you can participate in this by just entering a few names into a few categories and then writing in Wegmans, WEGMANS, wherever you want. It doesn't matter. It applies across the board. Wegmans usually wins literally best place to take a date and best place to meet a single almost every year is Wegmans. So it's just put it in as many times as you want. But there are some important ones. So question number 59 is the best website, for which I think people should put in rochester.edu/3%. I think we are the best local website for sure. The best Twitter is number 61, and that's at @open_letter. Instagram is Open Letter Books. That's number 62. Podcast number question 63 should be 2-Month Review. And then the important ones, most important ones, 73 best local author, put in Brian Wood. Best local poet, put in Anthony Blake. And 75 best local book, put in Joytime Killbox. And let's sweep some of these nominations. And anyone can enter. You don't have to be in Rochester, and literally just enter in Wegmans. Now I'll put the link to this in the show notes, and I'll put it in the Google or in the YouTube Hangout right now if I can find it. I just lost it somehow. But that way anyone can sign up. Anyone can just enter in these things. Just do it for us. We want to win. We want to be finalists. We want to be in this again because we never get acknowledged by Rochester local media. There's no like best publishing house. There's no like that. I do have a few joke ones that I entered in that I can share with you. Like for best arts festival, I put in Open Letter Books Happy Hour, and best cultural festival is Open Letter Books Happy Hour, and best bartender is Danny Wegman at Wegmans. So those are all good options too. But yeah, I think that we should just put in everything. I want Brian in particular to be on the finalists so that we can all vote for him. So everyone do that.
Sounds good. I'll vote.
Do it.
I lived in Rochester for 3 months.
That's enough.
In between theater internships, so I can do it. Right?
That counts.
Yes.
That totally counts.
Yeah, it definitely does.
They don't even care. I put in names
care.
things that don't exist. They don't.
Good. Wegmans is one of the few places I did not work.
Oh, really? You're like one of
it was like I graduated college and worked at about, I don't know. I did one of those annoying people for Greenpeace.
Oh, nice,
door to
nice.
door. Yeah.
Wow.
I worked at Bruegger's for like 3 hours.
Whoa, that's a lot though for Bruegger's, to be fair. That's a lot.
Yeah.
that's pretty solid. Man, yeah, Rochester, all the Rochester haunts. Bruegger's is still here. Greenpeace doesn't come door to door. Wegmans is everywhere.
No, it was out in the suburbs, and I was really good at getting people to sign the petition and giving kids lots of information, but I sucked it.
It's like that's like a prelude to becoming a bookseller.
It is. Like, I just lost my job. I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. Here's some information about. Just you're still concerned about it. You just can't donate your $30.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. You can still sign up. Sign anything.
Right.
There's a Tom Roberge told me about this morning, but there's a new Netflix show that was filmed here in Rochester called Hyperdrive. It's all about this like extreme Fast and Furious car racing. And they took I'm not shitting you. You might know what this is. So it took Eastman Business Park, north of where Kodak was. So the whole Kodak area that's just like a wasteland, and they converted it into 7 or 8 race tracks that were obstacle course, Fast and the Furious, Tokyo Drift. I'm saying words that I think mean stuff to car racing people. Things, including one that you have to drive up a bridge and it collapses and you have to drive off a bridge. And they filmed it all here in Rochester. So we're like Netflix famous, sort of.
Yeah, there you go.
Solid. Take it. The other thing I want to say before we get into the book or anything else is to thank you, because this arrived today.
Oh, awesome.
So this being, if you're not watching us, the Cactus League by Emily Niemans, who is the manager or the publisher of Paris Review, and formerly of Southern Review. She has her first book coming out, and it's about baseball, about the Cactus League, baseball and other things. Have you read it?
I haven't. The day I got that last Wednesday, I had a ton of books land all at once.
Oh yeah.
All these requested books, not just books, but requested books. And I've been looking forward to her book. So maybe this weekend.
Oh, nice.
I'm going to read it.
It's a good.
I think I'm going to read it because it's just out of arm's reach right now.
Yeah. I'm excited for it. I really like her. I really like her. And I read one of the stories was in somewhere a long time ago. And I remember it vaguely, when she was working on it, when it's first starting to make a round. So it's cool to see that it's coming out. I talked to her last time about coming on the podcast to talk about baseball and her book. Okay. So perfect.
Perfect.
Anytime that there's an excuse to just work that in.
Yeah, I figured it would be perfect. And, we spent a bunch of us booksellers and Seattle book people hung out with her at a Seattle beer place that's just up the street.
Oh, nice.
Somewhere.
Very nice.
Yeah, just around the corner from Elliott Bay. Yeah.
Oh, perfect. So how are things going at Island Books?
Good.
So
and I didn't, I don't know if I told you, I started a daytime book club.
Wow.
And so it's Mondays at 10:30, the third Monday at 10:30, not every Monday.
Okay.
And I'm so far doing only books by women, and that's just how it's worked out.
Nice.
So the November book is History of Mess.
Oh, that's super cool.
Recently, of course, came out from Open Letter. So everyone.
Yeah. That's perfect. That's awesome.
There's a lot to talk about in that book.
It's a weird book. It's a very fun and weird book. Which is how it should be.
The group is great. Yeah.
That's really cool. I've always wanted to do one of those, participate in an afternoon sort of book club like that.
Right.
Or morning or daytime.
Morning's a little, I would have picked afternoon, or evening, but yeah, that might be my other book club that we finally get started.
The after hours book club.
Seattle.
Right.
The after hours. Yeah. The beer book with beer. Yes.
Yeah, of course.
Yes.
We have those ones. So have you been reading along with Monsterhuman? The book that we're doing this season, if I didn't mention at the top of the show, is Monsterhuman by Kjersti Skomsvold. And today we're going to be going over pages 226 through 274, which is the last part of the Herring Factory. But But have you? So I know that I've seen that on Twitter that you had posted pictures of it. Have you read the whole thing up till now, or did you jump in and out?
I've been reading the whole thing up until now, so I've been kind of reading along with podcasts.
What's your takes?
That's how I do know it. It was kind of fun. I likely a book was about somebody with a chronic disease could easily just fall into like a whole different world where it's just like, oh, I'm sick, I've got this horrible disease, but hers doesn't, and it's funny.
Yeah.
Too. I read Please Save This Leaflet, which is out of Tom and Emma.
Yeah.
I've both recommended it. And that has a similar take where it's a woman with a chronic illness, and it's funny.
Yeah.
Too. I mean, she's got this horrible thing going on in the past, but and this is huge. But I also like how she's exploring writing, exploring her life and who she is, and yeah. But no, I'm really liking it, and I'm glad to get an excuse to read some big, huge book from Tolkien.
Yeah, that's true. A huge being an operative word there, because this thing is a monster of a book in a lot of ways.
Right.
One thing that's funny, I was going to say, I was thinking about this as I was walking back to here I took the baby for a walk to try and get him to sleep, which he did not do. But when I was walking back, I was thinking like, we're so fortunate that she didn't write this during like the Twitter era, because she's not a Twitter person, because this is like #MWriting, but like a million times better than every one of those tweets put together.
Right, because it could easily be somebody, talking about their illness, and Stuart from Belle and Sebastian has ME, and he's like really open, and he's kind of funny, it's like, yeah, I got this thing, and this, everyone kind of, they make allowances for him.
Right.
So yeah, and there's some Seattle writer people I know who have it and are pretty honest. Yeah. It sucks, but they don't seem to let it interfere as much as possible with their life.
Right. It seems to be the best approach.
Right.
Yes, I mean, as someone who does not, thankfully, have a chronic illness at this time, like I'm in a privileged position to say like that, but it seems like from her approach too, that like be acknowledging it, but not trying not to like dwell or let yourself become too downtrodden, or make your whole life about that would be tough. So, by the way, welcome, Brian.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Hey, Brian.
Sorry, I was tardy. Hi, Kate. How are you?
It's okay. We talked a lot about your book.
Hi, Brian.
How embarrassing.
Yes.
Wonderful.
No, it's great. I've only read the first story so far.
Oh, cool.
And I have a favorite line in it.
We should start doing that. Favorite lines from Brian's stories.
Share that we can share that at the end.
Just like, interject that. Yeah, we'll share that at the end.
Okay, yeah.
No, it's I'm gonna read the rest of it, but
awesome. I really appreciate you picking it up. That's really cool. I appreciate that.
Very cool.
Yeah, of course. No, I've been looking forward to it. I love short stories, and I've been looking forward to being published. And we'll have it on the Shell Island Books. So.
Oh, sweet! Even better. Thank you.
So everyone that's watching on YouTube can see, like, if you need an antidote to Monsterhuman, Brian's book is much thinner,
it's
much
more
skinnier.
It's more than 100 pages.
It's more than 100 pages, but it's like, if this is too much, you've got an option.
Yeah, put it next to Dux Newberry or.
I don't have that with me.
Newport. Yeah.
Or else I would.
Yeah.
That book is so
good
thick.
Lord.
That book is a brick. That's going to be exciting, though. I'm excited to do that. So, in particular with this section, was there anything that caught your attention?
No, I was just really enjoying
mine. Or...
Yeah, yours, Caitlin. You can come next, Brian. Ladies first.
Yes, of course.
You can go, Caitlin.
Yeah. Okay. No. I think she gets the bits in here that I thought were very funny. In this section, as she's talking about writing and that refer back to previous sections.
Yeah.
As well, but in a very kind of offside.
Yeah.
In a humorous way.
I thought this was fun because it feels like we've reached almost an not crescendo, but like the point at which her book is basically done. Like that first book is
Right.
finished as far as we know. So we've like built up to that. And I like that because then it's going to be interesting to see like the next stages to everything. But I particularly appreciated like her getting to that point because I can see why if that went on for too long. If it was like 200 more pages of like rewrites and Hilda saying she doesn't like it and like whatever, that could get tiresome. But the fact that she's sort of like, well, yep, this is it. Like I sent it off, and she's still haggling in her mind with like, I sent her another draft and like, I'm sorry and blah, 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 blah. But like, it feels more like she's reached some sort of point of completion. I think that's really good for like the character and for the narrative as it builds. But yeah, I know what you mean about like kind of referring back, but this is also like referring back to last week. We started talking about this section, but we only read like 12 pages of it or something. So it was like very short bit, but she does continue that thing with flipping between the third person and the first person and talking about it in relation to the book that she's writing and saying she rewrote it all in third person and that she likes the character better as she's referring to herself in the third person. And then I was like, nah, I don't know. It's not quite right. And then she switches it all back to first person and goes forward with that. And I think that's really, I mean, it's kind of a obvious trick in a way, but it's also a really fun trick to see play out in that narrative.
Yeah. And
you go, Brian.
Okay.
It felt somewhat
go ahead,
almost felt kind of meta-textual to me because I was reading, I was thinking, man, this third person's not working. It doesn't have the same energy that the first person has. Like, this is a bad move. She shouldn't have done that. While she's writing, like, third person might have been a bad idea. I'm gonna go back to first. Like, so it was very funny that I thought it was just a really great joke that she kind of weaved in there.
Yeah, I agree. I really like that aspect to it. Caitlin, what were you going to say? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
Oh, no. I like how she's talking about her writing, and she's kind of exploring it too, which she continues to do. And Hildy, is it Hildy or Hilda?
Sure. I don't know. It's Kjersti, so we're. I mean, it could be anything.
Right.
It could be John.
Yeah. Sorry.
No offense, Norway.
Yeah. I mean, I like that kind of banter going to, that where she has her and she kind of comments on her, which there's some little funny bits where she's coming down Hildy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I really liked. Yeah.
How it like takes her at the this is the section where she says the thing about her at the presentation during the book week too, right? Where she talks about how she didn't think that she was a great writer. It like sort of embarrasses her in front of everyone, which is pretty intense. And like they have like a back and forth that's not so clear. Like I guess it would be kind of a mentor-mentee situation in which it's not 100% like you're great, I'm going to be enthusiastic and always support you, but like this sort of there's a rough edge to it, and sometimes a little bit of aggression, which makes it seem more real, but also seems like it helps move both of them forward in what they're trying to do.
Yeah, and I felt this attraction and intimacy that they started having in this section.
Yeah,
which surprised me because there were so.
Yes.
I don't know. There was a neat dynamic in the way the relationship developed in this section, and so obviously that line about not a great writer would be so searing and hurt so bad. So yeah,
very true. Did you have any experiences like that in your MFA courses, Brian?
Let's see. I made out with Daniel Alarcon, and I made out with no, I didn't have anything like that at all. No, you know how it is. I mean, like they say, yeah, you're great. You have a lot of potential, but everything sucks. So fix everything. Like that's kind of like what I got out of it.
Right.
It's this, and you're always like blushing and like red in the face and sweating when people are critiquing your work and wondering, oh, they didn't. I thought that part was really funny. Nobody got it. I guess I'm not very good at that. I need to fix. Like I don't know. It's just this up and down roller coaster. Like I certainly can identify with a lot of the things she's feeling with sharing work with people.
Oh yeah.
I always liken it to whenever you're having a relationship with somebody and there's that kind of first time where you disrobe in front of somebody for the first time. You're kind of like, well, this is what it is.
Right.
You know, you're kind of like, I hope there's not too much critique going on. Like there's this vulnerability where, you know, you're sharing yourself with somebody and it's, you know, it's strange and exciting at the same time. So in a way, kind of sharing your work with somebody, especially if somebody you look up to, feels kind of like that, where you're just like, oh God, hope this works out okay. Yeah.
Oh my God. That took a nice turn.
No, I mean, like really, you're like, you put your heart, your soul into something, and you hand it to somebody, and you're just exposed. Like you're just there. Like it's
yeah.
So of course there'll be feelings of like embarrassment or angst or nervousness or
Absolutely. We did have in this section on 263. There's one of those bits where she slips on the words again. Where this slip, I didn't mean this intentionally, but the stairs are very slippery, said Kjersti. I slid down and planted my tree in the wall. Your tree? I planted my knee. In my knee. Which is but it's weird because I haven't felt like there's been as many of those as I expected.
There were a couple, right? I should have marked where they were, but I do remember the knee tree one, and there was another one with mom, like something about mispronouncing mom.
Is that what it was? Yeah, that sounds familiar.
To say, like,
I'll see if I can find it. My cat just hit my phone. Sorry.
Yeah, I kind of remember that, but I can't remember where that is either, or what it was. But I know that was one of the things that we're going to. Becky Crooks, the translator, is going to come on at some point. It's one of the things that she told us going into it that was one of the big struggles with translating the book was that there's a lot of wordplay that's throughout it, of these little slippages that work in Norwegian and don't always work in English, that they're hard to get across because they have to be words that sound very similar, obviously, or like can be mistaken for one another and that you would trip up on. And the one that this came up a few weeks ago, but one example for anyone who might have missed it was that at some point she starts crying about the crocodile hunter's death, but like the way that she talks says the word that she says in English in Norwegian means sperm. And so it's like an intertextual joke, language joke, interlingual joke that you can't really translate because there's no way for her to like say something in Norwegian that sounds like sperm in English that makes any sense within that. So it's like one of these crazy like puns and wordplay that the translator struggled with throughout this. So I know that this one seems pretty easy, but I'm curious like to talk to her and see which other ones they had to cut, like that one they had to cut, and various other ones that they might have had to trim or change just to make that work, because it's not always super straightforward.
Yeah, I'm always curious how that works with homophones and Have either of you ever read Three Trapped Tigers by Guillermo Cabrera Infante? No.
Three Trapped Tigers?
Three Trapped Tigers, yeah.
No, because I love animals.
No. It's three men that are trapped in Cuba that are represented through tigers. The book is wonderful. It's another big fat book. It's really, really good. From this Cuban author Infante, and Suzanne Gelabine translated it back in, I want to say like the late 60s, maybe early 70s, and it is loaded with puns and homophones and wordplay, and like everything is a joke on top of a joke on top of a joke. And I talked to her about it a few times years ago, especially when we reprinted it at Delkey, and it was like a nightmare to translate, to try and figure out how to do all that stuff and like how far she had to go away from the text and like all the ideas that you get of compensation. So like you lose the joke in one place and try and make it up in other places by adding stuff or making something work later. But that's so it'll be interesting to talk to Becky and see like where that played out in this book, because you see it every so often with like those ones that are like clear and they're stated as mistakes, but I feel like there's other slippages that they try to work in, or that might be in the Norwegian and might either not even be in the English or are sort of subtly in there or coming up in some other different way.
So this one was on 245. He stretches his arms into the air and laments, "Oh, I miss my mom now. To be polite, she replies that yes, well, it's possible to miss one's mother even when you're grown up. But it turns out that he didn't say mom now, he said mono.
Oh yeah, that's right.
He tells her
Right.
it's a club.
Yeah.
She thinks of mononucleosis,
Yeah.
which she's had some bad experience
Right.
with which she's had some bad experiences.
Right. So it's,
So mom now,
Yeah,
mon no.
right.
I mean, it's kind of close. I don't know. Maybe it's
Yeah.
closer in Norwegian, but
It's sort of funny because like there's like so much that has to be explained there. Anyway, like there's okay, so I miss mom now. Okay, get it. And then she says mono, and then he tells her it's a club. So there's like a new layer of like, wait, what is happening?
Yeah.
Like you might say mononucleosis.
right.
Yeah, okay, got it. Which it's a bad experience. So that's like a lot. There's a lot of weight in that sentence there in that little paragraph.
Right. It's just, yeah, because immediately goes and he's like talking about this, and it's like, oh shit. You know, immediately triggers like that whole mono experience, which I think was helped to bring on the ME. If I'm not, I mean, it's
Does it?
I don't like.
I don't
Listen-
know anything.
But
But
it's
like,
just one of those.
I had
yeah.
mono back in the day in college, and like I remember that hating every second of that experience and just never being able to stay awake. I was interning. This is a bad story of mine, but for one of these questions, I was interning at General Motors in the cost accounting department because I was really into cost accounting for a year, and I couldn't stay awake. And so it was cost accounting. And so this guy my boss would be describing to me like what kind of spreadsheet work I was supposed to do. And I would just suddenly wake up and be like drooling and just like, I don't know what's going on. Like, I don't feel very well.
Oh my God.
I feel fine, but not really. Like I can't keep my eyes open when you're speaking. It was like the worst thing. I also remember very distinctly, this is like a memory. This is what
there's a mono word on the other page on 244.
Oh, really?
Yeah, sorry, she says, I'm not laughing. I just thought of the word, is it a monocle with M-O-N-O-C-L-E? Is that like the single eyeglass monocle?
Yeah.
So monocle, mom now, mono. So there's
Right.
monos all throughout on 244 and 245.
Yeah, there is like a patterning there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh, I didn't even notice that. That's interesting.
When you said you were interning at
General Motors.
All I could think of, how great would it have been if Chad was that dead-eyed guy that does the Chevy commercials?
Oh, the guy who wants to shoot you in the eyes? That guy is terrifying to me. Like every time I see him, like he's
This is the new
like,
Chevy Cruze. Like,
I'm going to shoot you in the eyes. Like I swear that's going to be his next sentence.
That could have been you, Chad.
Thanks for coming out to this abandoned highway. I'm going to show you this car, and then I'm going to shoot you in the eyes. There was a guy. One of the people I had to work with there was this guy who was like he was probably like my age now, and I was like a college kid, and he's like, I just want to tell you, like, you need to be careful at college. Like, don't get too involved in drugs or in alcohol. He's like, look what happened to me. And he just like dead serious. And I was like, I don't know, you seem like a guy working in like accounting job. Like there's nothing like obviously like off kilter about him, but he was just like, you don't want this to happen to you.
Was he the sports medicine doctor at Michigan State while you were there?
Yeah. Michigan State.
Sorry.
There's too many Michigan State jokes. I don't even.
It's not even a joke. I'm just saying, like, look what happened to me. Like a monster.
Yeah, very true.
That's what happens when you drink a tall boy. See, that's dangerous. Only 12-ounce beers, Chad.
Only natty ice, man. It's only natty ice.
Those extra ounces, that's a gateway to rabble-rousing.
When I was at Michigan State, they literally had multiple riots that were on CNN in which things were broken because they closed down like one of the places where people had tailgating. So yeah, it was not a safe environment for anyone.
Oh, while we're off the rails, randomly, I was walking to the library today to return some books, and there was a lady sitting outside. I forget what she was doing. She's either like smoking or eating flaming hot Funyuns, something like random.
Same
thing. I see her, and then I do the books. When I come back, she goes, "Hey, are you with the Mexican drug cartel?" I'm like, "What?" She's like, "No, I'm serious. Are you involved with the Mexican drug cartel?" And I said, "How did you know?" And she like very seriously told me, you can't be talking like that. I'm like, well, I mean, I have to be true to myself. And I just kept walking off. But what a random, like, why would somebody ask me that? I don't know. It's like I'm returning like
kind of random.
Yeah, like random like books at the library. Apparently it was drugs. I don't know.
That's Rochester for you. That's Rochester in a nutshell.
Central Library, man. Don't ever touch those computers. Woo.
No, don't ever. Literally, none of them. Not even the ones that don't have internet access.
Yeah. Speaking of computers, the character Kjersti did some computer programming, so we could get back into.
Yeah, we can. That's a good segue.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I mean,
Well done.
I can't go into the details. When my 3 months in Rochester, one of the branch libraries, I saw something that was pre-internet. It was pre-internet in the library.
Oh
and I was
no!
like, oh my!
I can only imagine.
Right now.
Yeah, I can totally imagine
It was
that.
in the stacks. Yeah. It was in the stacks.
I've been listening.
Yeah.
I listened to 2 audiobooks recently that both related to Rochester and took a big shit on Rochester, and both of them and it was like within the same day because I'd been going back and forth, and both of them took a big shit on Rochester at the same day that I was listening to them. One was about behavioral economics, and Richard Thaler was in the business school at Rochester, and they're like, well, the business school is too conservative and ridiculous for the things he was doing, so he had to leave. And they make fun of Rochester's professors for not understanding who he was. He wins the Nobel Prize recently. And U of R is yeah, he's one of ours. And if you listen to this, it's very clear that he was not into U of R whatsoever. But then the other was the Shirley Jackson biography, in which she said that her and her friend used to spend hours at the coffee shop just looking for an interesting face to walk by, and it would take them sometimes a day to find one person. It was oh my god,
Wow.
maybe spot on, but also very cruel.
And wasn't she a dropout?
She was thrown out. She got
thrown out. I thought I was I'm out of here.
No,
she was a sophomore or something.
She was asked to leave after her freshman year because in her words, quote, they wanted me to do a lot of boring stuff like attend class.
So she was too smart for her own good.
Yeah.
And
so she was writing stories and not into it.
Your genius is making people feel really uncomfortable. We're gonna have to ask you to leave.
She was also when she was here. This is way off topic, but when she was here, she was in there was U of R was split between, it was not co-ed, it was male and female in different parts of different campuses. And so the female campus, the women's campus, was right here. It was right on Prince Street. It's just around the corner from where I am right now. So it's it's
cool
where VCS is, and right where that other thing is. Yeah. So she was right nearby, which is very cool. So I can see what her world, imagine what that world would have been 70 years ago. 80 years ago. Anyways, yeah, back to Monsterhuman.
Back to Monsterhuman.
Speaking of Monster Humans, the one of the things I like was the bit where she's talking about Harold Pinter, and then
Oh yeah,
that was great. And has this dream.
That's.
And he's reading her manuscript. Wow. He's I don't know.
It's so amazing. But she has some dark ass lines in here when she's but after a little while she feels sick. She's almost lived a third of her life already, and everything happens at the same time, and now she is going to die. And it's third of your life? You're so lucky. I'm so far beyond a third of my life. I can't even pretend anymore. I can't be well, yeah, if you multiply by 3, that's a possibility. No, it's not.
No.
Nope. Oh, didn't like that. But then it refers right after that to she rarely watches a film twice or rereads books due to this thing with death. The thought that life is so brief. There's so much there is so much that one would like to have clarity about all at once, which I thought was great too. But I love that little section with Harold Pinter and having won the Nobel Prize and watching that video and dreaming him reading her manuscript. I think that part is brilliant. I think that's really, really intense.
Well, I felt great because I've probably read maybe 5 plays in my life, and 3 of them were Harold Pinter's. I actually know who this is. All right, cool.
I used to love his plays.
I'm well read.
He's great. I mean, we used to joke. I took a lot of theater drama classes and play classes and playwriting and theater history, and so Pinter was a subject. And when we did birthday party when I was in college.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I was not on stage. I was more like backstage.
You were the Harold Pinter roadie.
Yeah, I was the roadie. Come on, Harold. But he was one of the greats.
His dialogues are so great,
and it's the Pinter pause. So like that kind of long pause, where it'd be interesting to read this and have that kind of Pinter pause in between what she's saying and Harold replying, like Harold her.
Yep. Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, I think this was.
I had this weird thing with this section where like somehow the universe opened up and spoke to me in a weird way. Everything lined up where I've been trying this challenge where I want to read one short story, one poem, and one essay every day. And I've been trying to do that this year. I mostly get like 2 out of 3 usually. It's hard to do 3 for 3.
Yeah.
I mean, you can just read a poem as like 2 sentences.
Exactly. Yeah.
Come on, man.
But one of the poems I read this week was Baudrillard. Is that how you say it? Baudrillard, the French one, where it says "intoxicate yourself" on page 266.
No.
Yeah.
Baudelaire.
Yeah,
Baudelaire. Yeah. Sorry. Waiting for Godot is another good one. No. So yeah. So that was one of the poems I read. I just call him Charles. We're on a first name basis. Me and Charles. Yeah. And I think instead of intoxicate yourself, it was called get drunk. Was the translation that I had.
Oh, really?
I think so. So I had read that poem like 5 days ago, and then yesterday I watched this movie called The Beach Bum, where
Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah, Matthew McConaughey plays like this eccentric poet named Moondog, and he quotes this poem in that movie to some bums. He's like, "What is that poetry?" He's like, "It's Baudrillard, you fucking read." Like he like goes off on these poems, and then I read this today, and I was like, "What the hell? That's three times the same poem in the same week. It's really weird, super random." And
isn't Beach Bum made by Harmony Korine? So you're in Harmony.
Correct, and there's the Harmony
universe.
Right there. Yes.
Yeah. So
and I have a kid, and he did kids. So
he did
there we go.
Kids, and your daughter's not part of kids.
Oh, good. Thank God. Yeah. Yeah. So it was really weird to read that. And so in that one,
that's
it
a good
says
one.
Get drunk, and it says on wine or poetry or virtue. So I'm not big on poetry or virtue, so I'm definitely doing the wine as far as this poem is concerned. Yeah. It's a good poem though. Check it out if you're reading out there. It's worth checking out. I really liked it. It was a good poem.
Yeah. Blair's pretty well known.
But it gave me goosebumps. Yeah, it gave me goosebumps. Like, man, that's 3 times in the same week. That's weird.
That happened.
That's kind of weird.
That happens to me with Rodrigo Frezan's books. But
he references 900 things a page. Come on, just the odds.
Very true.
Just the odds.
So the odds are pretty high, and you'll never remember the ones you don't notice. But but the one that came up for me was Talking Heads, which I didn't listen to the Talking Heads in how long, right? Like I know the Talking Heads enough, but like whatever, and they're all over the new book and receipts and lines, everything.
Yeah,
every bar I go to, Talking Heads will come on, and I'll be like, "Fuck, there it is." It's been like literally every single bar since I finished proofing that. Every time, it's like clockwork, and it's be like, "Oh my god!" It's like a renaissance.
The fun game with that is to watch the stop making sense.
More,
yes. I think I'm noticing it more.
You're aware, yeah.
I'm primed.
Yeah.
So it's what is it? The German terrorist, Bader Meinkampf situation. Bader Meinkampf. You guys know about this. The Bader Meinkampf syndrome, where you don't until you're told something, you might not ever hear this word or think about this word, and once you're told it, you notice it over and over again. It's like the Bader Meinkampf syndrome, because I think that there was a time where like once they got mentioned, everyone thought that they were hearing this all over the place and that they were super, super famous, but it had only occurred like a few times, but no one paid attention until like once they heard it once, everyone kept noticing it after that. So it's exactly that situation, but It's also fun.
Right.
Because it
That
is
hap-
fucking Friesan and he's in tune with like something.
Yeah. It's crazy. That happened
Yeah,
when
no,
Katie was pregnant, because I was worried, like that wanted the baby to be healthy and stuff, and everything I watched was about kids dying. I'm like, what the hell? Why is this everywhere? I was just so attuned to it and like hypersensitive. It was just everywhere. It was driving me crazy.
Oh my God. Caitlin, you're gonna say something? I feel like
no, I think it's gonna like talk more about the talking heads, but that gets us off topic.
Yeah, I know. How
A
could you
little
talk?
bit because it's.
this is a tough
But
book
no,
to stay on
that's
topic
fun.
with in
Yeah.
this section because there's like
It is.
there's a lot of fun to it, but it is just sort of being in that experience. It's a book that's almost experience. The experience of it and reading it is so pleasurable because of her voice and because of the way that she phrases things. And then recounting it, it's like there's stuff there, but it's not like you have to like unpack it or be like, I don't understand this. In most instances,
No.
like this is an appreciative. I appreciate this, and I think that this is fun or this is good. But it's like easy to get off topic because there's a lot of stuff that's just sort of there too for us to like riff on.
Do you think she's
Right.
happy in this section?
Are people happy? Is happiness a thing? Wait.
I think she's. I don't know if she's happy. She seems to be having some fun in it.
Yeah.
When she talks. I mean, when getting back to the knee wall, which she puts like this heart made of Post-its over the hole she makes in the wall. She talks about that, and she has some like interesting jabs at people.
Yeah.
That are just kind of, it seems, but then she does. There are parts like in the beginning where she does seem like she's kind of down, and that is probably partially because of ME, where I think it would.
I related to that on 240. She says, so Hilda follows her after her. How old are you? She asks. Kjersti pierces her face with needles, and Hilda pierces razor-edged words into her heart. Kjersti feels it now. Hilda will feel it in a year when Kjersti tells her everything that hasn't been very good. Was what made me think of that when you're saying like she seems like she has down parts. But then when you say is she happy in here, do you mean like the character happy in this moment or her happy writing it? Because there's like great interplay on page 259 first, where I guess Sievert says, he always says this, that he really hopes her next book won't be autobiographical. Fortunately, he also says that literature isn't supposed to be humorous. So then she knows that he's all at sea. So like she's making a joke, but also referencing that. And then on 272, Ragni and Sin, whatever, ask her what her next book is about. Kjersti tells them that her next book will be autobiographical, and that among other things, will be about what it is like living there. Sanab looks at her, deliberate and serious. Then we will sue you, she says. So it's again like another fun thing related to that idea that the next book will be autobiographical, which this obviously is. So like within that, like I feel like Kjersti, the author of Monsterhuman, is happy and is enjoying that play. But Kjersti, the character in these sequences, I don't think is necessarily happy. I think that she's making it.
No, she's right.
But it's
or she's trying to create a livable situation. Maybe she's got this. She's trying to make not the best of it, but she's trying to make the best of what is going on. Maybe.
Like she's trying to get to her goal.
She's not right. Which is obviously the publish, but she's she's definitely struggling a lot.
Yeah.
And I think that's especially evident in the beginning of the section. But then she also seems to have some parents going through the divorce.
Oh yeah. Which makes her much sadder than one might even. I mean, I guess in American culture than one would project. Related to that is maybe the distancing part of the third person, like distancing technique to not want to talk as personally about this period. I mean, it's very meta in the sense that it does relate to like her trying to do that with the book, but we don't know that that's even true, to be honest. Like that could be invented. Like we obviously don't have that version of the book that was written in the third person. We only have the finished version that is in the first person to look at. So it's possible that could all be made up. But it does seem like that's a strategy for like sort of taking oneself out of like the bad situation and making it seem a little bit further away. And that if she had written in the I, it wouldn't be as honest unless she were more aware of like the sort of sadness that's kind of underlying that her this point in time for her life.
Yeah, because even with it being limited, it still offers a little bit of objectivity, or like as a reader, you give it a little bit of objectivity being third person.
Yeah.
Right.
Right on.
Yeah. I got to tell you, I haven't had a chance to look at it yet, but I want to Google this Athens race where Sally Robbins just gives up rowing.
Is that real?
I don't know. It's 270.
That is amazing. Yeah. So for anyone who isn't reading the book,
there's a big footnote. It's like I think it's the first one in the book that we get.
It's also fucked up. You do realize that, right? Too. So like.
Yeah, I was looking for the number one. I didn't see it.
Yeah. Okay. So typos aside, I was like very confused from me.
It happens. It's a big book. Whatever.
I was looking to the back. Like, I did the back.
I was like, it happens. It's a big book. We'll give him a pass.
Totally understandable. Yeah, but for a second, I was like, is this some kind of weird postmodern game?
It's like, motherfucker, why you gotta be playing with me like this, man? Footnotes inside of footnotes. No. So, but yeah, this thing about Athens, I was really curious about this.
Yeah, so it refers to in Athens in 2004 that in the women's rowing final, Sally Robbins for the Australian team just stopped rowing. And like laid back, leaned over backwards in a lap of her teammate, and the Australian team finished in last place. And they threatened to throw me overboard, Robbins said afterwards. The media gives her the name Lay Down Sally, and the case stirs up hefty debate in Australia, and even the Prime Minister, Don Howard, gets involved. The Rowing Association takes measures to give Sally Robbins and the rest of the team professional counseling to deal with the incident. Nonetheless, the national team for 2 years after having struck Robbins during a welcome home dinner in Australia. Like, I hope that's true, but I don't hope that's true for her sake. But I hope that's true because that's a wild ass story.
Like, no, it is. It is. It seems like it would be. I didn't Google it. Like, no, I would have.
Right.
Just make sure that it was. But I kind of believed it. I was like, yeah, sure. There's a big footnote here.
Australians are weird, man. So
somewhere there's like
there's an Australian it pops up right away, guys. It is absolutely true. So she attempted to become a professional cyclist later too. This is what? Yeah, it's kind of confusing. I don't want to read this thing right now. This is not good radio or podcasting. But so apparently it wasn't the first time she did this, though. In 2002 at the World Rowing Championships in Seville, Evans also dropped her oar, costing Australia a certain victory. The 2000 Summer Olympic silver medalist Rachel Taylor is quoted as saying, Australia was blitzing the race, leading the entire field all the way. It was about as sure thing as you could get to having the world title in the bag. With approximately 400 meters to go, Sally Robbins stopped rowing. The Australian crews dropped back and finished in fourth position. Sally's three teammates were understandably shocked, devastated, and inconsolable, not at all dissimilar to the sickening reenactment I witnessed this past Sunday. So yeah, so she tried to qualify again in 2008, but they wouldn't allow her.
See, that sounds like it could be like a Harold Pinter play, the narcoleptic rower or something, like something like.
Yeah.
So there's this one of the most amazing YouTube videos ever. Is the first a gold medal for Australia in the Winter Olympics. It's for speed skating, and it's like three people are going around. There's four people on the track that are going around, and in last place is Australia. The three in front are all like very tight, and the Australian guy is way the fuck behind, right? And like one of the one in front, whoever it is, like goes around the curve and skids and hits and takes out all the other skaters on the last lap, and they just go spiraling into the wall. And this guy, I think his name was Johnny something, is like comes around for Australia and he's just like hands up, like gold medal winning, like just like smoothly skating in, going so much slower than everyone else. They're all like piled up. Australia's gold medal in Olympian history is fun. It's very fun. There are people. So yeah, that's a great story. That's a great footnote. That's how you use a footnote.
Well, that was a fantastic footnote. I really liked it.
Yeah. No, yeah, it was good. It was a good footnote. Yes.
Very solid.
Well, especially like it's a neat connection to when you say you can see the sky, and that's when you begin to hear the shouts. Like you mentioned Sally, just like, what are you doing? What?
Oh my God, yeah, it's kind of amazing. I hope she's still going. I hope she tries to come back.
Can you imagine like Australian Tinder and like, oh, it's late. Like, what's your handle? Lay down, Sally. Oh, that sounds interesting. I'm down for that. And you're like, oh, wait, you're that lady that quit. Forget you. Like, what a terrible nickname, Lay Down Sally. Poor thing. Man, that's messed up. It's messed up.
Oh my God.
I'm totally gonna be watching that at YouTube tonight and go down a rabbit hole.
I'm absolutely doing it too. Like I'm on her Wikipedia page. There are lots of links here. It's I just shared it in the YouTube comments. Yeah, if anyone's watching this and you want to ask us questions, go right ahead.
Perfect.
You guys can I'm more than happy to answer and respond to anything you guys do. And I assume that it shows up on this app. So but anyways, what else is there anything else from the section that you guys found interesting that you wanted to bring up?
No, I think it covered most of the stuff for me, but I'm curious if he has anything.
Yeah. I think that's
I have a favorite line a bit that might be one last thing. I'd use it as a line, but it might be the last bit. Yeah. So they're giving her readings. Oh, wait, I have two things. One is the anthology that she goes to the party for at the end. That's real. That was an anthology that she edited. So this is like just to tie it back into the autobiographical aspect of it. That is absolutely true. But on page 243, they're giving a reading in which someone puts a sound on the stage, and you have to read against that sound. And Kjersti was given the best sound from the sound man, whom they have as their teacher, an infinitely ascending sound. She wishes she could be like that, but it's impossible to ascend infinitely. It's an audio illusion, a mathematical function on an endless loop, which I thought that was great. And I was like, hey, Brian, have you ever had to do a reading over top of like some random sound? Because I think maybe the reading that we're doing in Rochester, we should make you do that.
I have not, but I will be doing a reading in November with the in conjunction with the Rochester Piano Club, where it's accompanying a classical pianist with a piece. So I have no idea how that's going to work out, but yes, I will be doing it with some music.
So if you don't read What to Say to a Child in the Speedway Bathroom as against classical piano, I'll be disappointed.
That's actually the song I'm doing. That's actually the piece that's the story I'll be reading, actually.
Do they know this?
Yeah, I told them it's
good.
It's about urinals. And we're going to do it. It's actually the pianist Chick Corea has a collection of works called Children's Songs.
Oh, that's perfect.
We're going to do it with that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've been working with we'll perform it in, I believe, November. So I'll let you guys know as it gets closer.
Where are you guys doing it?
I don't know yet. I don't know what the venue is, but I think they're going to try like a trial run and then do like a big one later because they're not sure if it'll work or not. So
awesome.
I told them, whatever, let's all bomb on stage together. Let's go big.
Yeah.
But no,
that
I love that.
Great.
I love that part where she had to apologize for not waiting for the sound to stop, and she's
yeah.
Like you're supposed to wait on stage until it ended, but she just walks off.
But imagine how uncomfortable it is to read out loud, first of all, and then have a microphone and try to read out. Like that's just a really bad situation. And that's why, just like Hilde said, you don't need to be going to a poetry reading. I was trying to find where that was in here, but there was that one section. You don't need to go to poetry. Come with me.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, Caitlin, do you have a favorite line from this, or do you have a favorite line from Brian's story?
Oh, well, I could read a favorite line from Brian's story. I do have a favorite line from this too.
Okay.
Let's stick with Kjersti. Let's stick with Kjersti first, please.
Okay, I'll read that. Okay.
Yes.
It's on. This is like I like her humor when it surfaces. This is on 240, and they stop. Kjersti looks down at the ground. Hildy's shoes are not so nice. She's and that kind of refers back to the other line, and it was just it's just kind of like, oh no.
I like that too.
Nice.
Yeah, because they call back to that part where she's like, "Oh, you have nice shoes," and she's like, "Fuck you." In her mind. Yeah.
Right. And
Yeah, that's a good one. I liked it.
And she's gonna look. Yeah, she doesn't even get that.
It's so good. Brian, do you have a favorite line?
Just go a little bit past that. You have hair like my dog. She says.
Yeah.
What do you mean? What do you mean? What do I mean? You got hair like my dog. What are you talking about?
That's wonderful. It's such a fun book. It's such a fun book to read. It's like I've been getting up early, like way early in the morning, and just like sitting on the porch and reading this with coffee, and it's perfect. It's like a great way to start the day. It's like be in that world and that voice, and it's like comforting and entertaining and interesting. I really quite enjoy it. So what's your favorite line from Joytime Killbox so far?
Okay, so I've only read the first story,
Yeah.
and I apologize for that. But
Why?
I'll read more of it.
No apologies. It's fine.
Because I want to read more of it. So this is in the grocery. This is the first story, which is set in a urinal. But she's in a grocery store, or he is. I'm sorry. And as I gaze down the aisle, I feel some kind of strange weight pressing in, like the world is too full for manners anymore. So he's in a grocery store, and this woman is kind of blocking the aisle and like looking at sugar. She's in the baking aisle, and I like that. It's like underlined. Yeah.
Nice.
Can't really see.
I swear, I'm not anxious in public, but I feel like I get anxiety attacks every time I go to the grocery store or to the airport. Like just the way people interact there, like we're just a little too close together, and like goodness, can't we just get along here? We're gonna make it out. Let's just give us some space.
Right.
This may be killing your punchline, but one of my favorite lines in the story is, "What could I say? I touched him. I was only cleaning the boy. I was showing him how it's done." Which out of context is brilliant.
Yeah. Well, thank you both. I appreciate it. It's very kind of you. Very kind.
So, like we kicked off this whole episode, go vote for us on Best of Rochester on City Paper. Especially vote for Joytime Killbox and Brian as Best Local Author. We're gonna win this motherfucker. Next week when we will talk about pages 275 through 316, which is part of the next section, which is called East of the River. And you can find us at open_letter and Open Letter Books on Instagram. Brian, you're Brian Wood _. Caitlin, you can be found at Island Books and.
Yeah, I'm at Island Books, and it's Kate _on_the _loose. I am sorry for that. I joined like social media at like 3 a.m. and I'm like, oh, this sounds good.
It's spelled Luce, correct?
But it's a play Luce. It's a play in my middle name, which is Loose, and like loose,
Yep.
On the loose.
There was a today on Next Door Neighbor or Next Door, whatever the fuck that app's called, of like people in your neighborhood can post things like a mini Facebook. There was one that was chicken on the loose, because there was a chicken in someone's backyard eating the tomatoes, and they didn't know what to do. Okay. And they initially spelled loose LOSE. So chicken on the loose was in their backyard because.
Yeah.
My favorite part.
Rochester.
I did read that Next Door Neighbor post, and my favorite thing about it was this person was, "What do I do? Like it's a chicken. Like do whatever you want. Nobody cares. Like just move
the owner's not home." Okay.
One of the responses was, "You set your stove to medium and get a barbecue sauce." What do you mean? What do I do? There's a chicken eating my help. Yeah.
That always has to be the first. That had to be the first response.
How perfect is that for modern times? Like you're just crippled by a chicken being in your yard. What do I do? Just move it. Like just move it. It's a bird. Like go.
Run at it. It's not gonna hurt you.
It will go away.
Yeah. It's like it's eating my tomatoes and I want it to stop. Well then fucking stop it. Like just go make it stop. It's just a chicken. It's not goddamn Godzilla out there. It's just a chicken.
Yeah.
Anyways, okay.
Yeah, I'm not
Thanks.
on that. I think it's
Oh,
thank you.
it's wonderful here. It's wonderful. It is every day there are the same like 8 or 12 people who post something that's more batshit than it could have been that you could ever expected. And it just spirals out into nonsense land in like 2 responses. And it's wonderful. Like it's so much better. There used to be Topics, which was a locally based sort of like online like a message board, and that was awesome but wickedly racist, like very racist. And
an online messaging community would go into racism.
Yeah, and this one's not as racist because it's not anonymous. Like there's like people, so it's like it curtails the racism to some degree. But Topics used to, there's a long story. I can't go into it here, but if anyone ever meets me at a bar drunk and wants to hear a really funny story, ask about Felicity, Ohio sometime. Felicity, Ohio.
Oh, I know that
goddamn.
Yeah.
Okay.
I even sent someone there and they took pictures of it for me recently.
That's like a third shot of Jameson kind of story.
Yeah, it is. It really is. It is.
Okay.
It is for sure. So all of you come into Alta up here in Rochester, give me 3 shots of Jameson, say Felicity, Ohio, and just sit back. You'll have a good time. But anyways, thank you guys for doing this. Thanks everyone for listening, and we will be back next week.